I built this business the old-fashioned way. Hard work and a whole lot of spreadsheets.
Yeah, about that, I upgraded us to Odoo. Odoo puts everything we need, sales, inventory, accounting, on one connected platform. No more juggling systems, no more headaches.
So it all works together?
Exactly.
Odoo is the all-in-one business software that makes running and passing on a business easier than ever. Take your business into the next generation. Try Odoo free at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
You know what it is. That's right. It's time to talk money with your money nerd and financial coach. Now, tighten those purse strings and open those ears. It's the Money Talk with Tiff podcast.
Hey. So welcome back to Tiffany's Take on Money Talk with Tiff. I am your host, Tiffany Grant. And last episode, we talked about doing a stewardship review. If you didn't listen to it, I highly recommend listening to it now before you listen to this one, because this one is going to dive a little deeper into that. But the stewardship review was pretty much taking an honest look at where your time, your money, and your energy actually went. But here's what I didn't get to do in that episode. What happens when that review shows that you missed the mark, where you completely missed whatever it is you was trying to accomplish? When the savings account is lower than you had hoped, the debt is higher, or you realize that you spent 3 months busy but not productive, because we've all been there. Today, we're talking about the recovery plan. So how to come back from a financial season that didn't go your way. So first, I want to get something straight. A missed goal is not a moral failure. I need you to hear that, because if you plan to save $5,000 and you save $500, you didn't fail. You got information and you're still further along than zero. The problem isn't the gap between the plan and the reality. The problem is when we let that gap become the reason we stop trying. And I'm going to let that marinate with you. The problem is when we let that gap become the reason to stop trying. I see this all the time. People do their budget review, see they overspent, and instead of adjusting, they abandon the whole system and it gets worse. And then they tell themselves, budgeting just doesn't work for me. No, you just had one hard month or one hard season. Stewardship means you adjust and you continue. Not that you get it perfect from day one, because nobody's going to get it perfect from day one. And even me, as someone that has been budgeting for years, sometimes I fall off as well. And the worst thing that you can do is just ignore it. The best thing you can do is to just go ahead and look at the data for what it is. So with that being said, here's what I call the 48-hour rule. So when you discover a financial setback, maybe it's a surprise bill, a missed goal, an account overdraft, you have 48 hours to move through 3 specific steps. Not 48 hours to fix everything, 48 hours to process and plan what happens next. So in hours 0 to 24, so in the first day, you name it without a narrative, just the facts. I plan to save $300. I save $50. Not I'm terrible with money or I'll never get ahead, because we speak life into ourselves. We speak life into our finances. We don't want any negative talk, but this is only the facts are important here. So write them down. Look at them. Let the disappointment exist, because we're human. We're going to have emotions, but do it without attaching a story about your worth to it. So just look at the data and say, you know what, I aim to do 300. I save 50. It is what it is. How can I move forward? Instead of saying, oh, this is horrible, I'm bad with this, whatever. We just looking at the data and naming it without a narrative that we made up.
You know that thing where you get an amazing pair of shoes at a really great price and want to tell everyone about it? Yeah, so do we. Here at Designer Shoe Warehouse, we'll give you something to brag about, like the latest styles from brands you love, or the trends everyone's obsessing over, or shoes that make you feel like, well, you. So go ahead, show off a little. Find shoes that get you at prices that get your budget. Head to your DSW store or DSW.com today. DSW, let us surprise you.
So in hour 24 to 36, you find the leak, not the blame, the leak. Where did the plan break? Was it an unexpected expense you couldn't control? Was it a subscription you forgot to cancel? Was it emotional spending after a hard week? Was the goal itself just unrealistic given your actual income and what happened? This is detective work. It's not prosecution. You're looking for the pattern so that way you can interrupt it. Then hour 36 to 48, one adjustment, not 5. Not a complete life overhaul, because we're not going to do that in 2 days. One specific measurable change you can implement immediately. So cancel one subscription, automate one transfer, block one spending trigger. One thing. The reason most recovery plans fail is they're too ambitious. You discover you overspent by $400 and you swear you'll cut $400 next month from every category. That's not sustainable. One adjustment builds momentum. 5 adjustments builds burnout, and then you'll never stick to it again. So I'll give you a real life example. Back in my corporate days, I did a review and realized I was spending almost $300 a month on convenience food. So we're talking Uber Eats, we talking fast food, things like that. Not because I loved it, but because I had no energy to cook after long work days. The leak wasn't food. The leak was no margin in my schedule for basic life maintenance. Getting in there and making something to eat for yourself is basic life maintenance. Time was my issue. So my one adjustment was Sunday meal prep for 2 hours with a podcast on, not I'll never eat out again, because we know that's not realistic. Just reduce the default to cooking. That one change freed up $200 monthly without me feeling deprived, because I found the actual leak, not the symptom, the source. And so this is why just knowing the data and actually thinking through the data is so important. And if you don't make the time to do this type of analysis, you'll never be able to plug your leaks. Stewardship isn't about perfect performance. It's about faithful response. When you discover a gap between where you are and where you want to be, the question isn't, how did I let this happen? The question is, what's the next right thing I can do with what I have right now? Your resources haven't changed. You still have the same 24 hours, the same income, the same skills. What changes is your awareness. And that awareness is actually an asset. You can't steward what you don't see, and you can't manage what you don't measure. The review showed you something. Now you can work with the reality instead of against it. So if you're coming out of a hard financial month or a hard financial year, because that was mine last year, try the 48-hour rule. Name the facts, find the leak, make one adjustment, and give yourself grace for being someone who reviews, reflects, and tries again, because that's more than what most people do, and that's stewardship. If you're realizing you need help identifying which path to focus on, whether it's getting your foundation solid, building wealth, or working through the mindset stuff that keeps derailing you, head on over to moneytalkwitht.com/start. The quiz there will point you toward the right resources for exactly where you are, not where you think you should be. Next episode, we're talking about who you need in your corner while you're doing this work, because stewardship is not a solo sport. Until then, keep managing your money with purpose. Bye.
Thank you for listening, joining, and being a part of the Money Talk with Tiff podcast this week. You can check Tiff out every Thursday for a new Money Talk podcast. But if you just can't wait until next week, you can listen to previous podcast episodes at moneytalkwitht.com or follow Tiff on all social media platforms at Money Talk with T. Until next time, spend wise by spending less than you make. A word to the money wise is always sufficient.
I built this business the old-fashioned way. Hard work and a whole lot of spreadsheets.
Yeah, about that, I upgraded us to Odoo. Odoo puts everything we need, sales, inventory, accounting, on one connected platform. No more juggling systems, no more headaches.
So it all works together?
Exactly.
Odoo is the all-in-one business software that makes running and passing on a business easier than ever. Take your business into the next generation. Try Odoo free at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.